Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Game Plan. My name is Gareth Soloway, Chief Market Strategist here, and today we have some big things going on. It seems like every day these days something big is going on. Crowdstrike basically doing an update that causes major outages all around the U.S. here. Airlines, banks, Microsoft, cloud, you name it, many computers are affected as well. The stock tumbling in pre-market action. And again, folks, I think the biggest thing here is to recognize that you can't go to a full-out digital payment system. And I think this is something that became very aware, or I was very aware of this morning, is that you still need cash, you still need gold, you still need silver. All of these type of things, it makes me very aware that once you fully rely on the digital economy, things can go very, very wrong. So just be aware of that, folks. And again, something that today we should all be even more aware of, the risks of bad actors, bad countries, hacking the grid, all of those type of things. Make sure you look at your finances and make sure that you don't fully rely on credit cards alone or even crypto. You know, crypto, yes, you can take Bitcoin off of the network essentially, but the point being is that you have to be aware that if that grid goes down, you have to have other methods of buying, purchasing, and kind of trading goods. Okay, so markets yesterday, we reacted a little bit in the after hours to Netflix earnings. It wasn't anything crazy at this point. Netflix almost unchanged. This morning, American Express coming out, they reported a decent quarter. Stocks down just a little bit. You can see in the chart that I'm going to show you in just 1 minute that we did see a little bit of a signal that that was going to happen. All right, into the action we go here, guys. Let's get going. Right into this chart. This is your Netflix chart. We'll look at CrowdStrike in 1 second. But essentially what we have here is Netflix initially flushing because their guidance was weak. But what do we see? We saw that their subscriber numbers were massive. 8 million subs added. The stock came back up. But overall, almost no movement. So this is a dud, and I don't mean a dud in a bad way. It just is almost as if it didn't happen because the stock is not moving whatsoever. So we're within the flat line here by about $5, and we'll see how it reacts throughout the day. Now, flipping over to the big news of the morning, CrowdStrike. Take a look at this drop. Now, we had this short in smart money stocks and ETFs. What a gift it was to wake up. And I know that sounds weird to wake up to that, but again, as bad as the outages are, I see lines at airports. I mean, it just looks horrendous out there. When you're short this stock and you wake up to this sort of drop, trading down 20%, that is a little bit of a positive in an overall kind of messy morning for the globe, or at least the U.S. So big drop here. It is recovering as they've sent out supposedly a fix that'll fix this issue. But it certainly does make us, as I mentioned before, very aware of the vulnerabilities of being so reliant on essentially the technology in our lives. And by the way, this is only going to get worse with AI, folks. It's only going to get worse. I know people that literally don't carry cash around anymore. You start bringing in AI, there will be bad actors out there that use AI for very nefarious things as well. And just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. You know, again, I'm a risk analyst, and what I mean by that is that when I'm trading stocks, crypto, or commodities, I'm always looking at what could happen if this happens. What happens if in this scenario? How do I react? How do I maneuver? Remember how I start positions with small entries because I'm worried about, well, what if it goes against me? How do I maneuver? I don't want to be handcuffed. The same thing you have to do in your day-to-day life. You have to be looking at all of your risks, you know, not just financially with stocks and crypto and commodities, but also in scenarios where what happens when the grid goes down? Where's my water supply? All of these type of things should be on alert. And listen, I've done this specifically in my life. Solar on the roof with battery backup, all right? Not an end-all be-all, but that's one of the things that I put in. Well, deep well, so well water, and I can run that off solar or get a pump and pump it. These type of things, again, they just bring peace of mind, right? It's all about peace of mind and knowing that in certain scenarios, you're okay. I even grow a lot of my own food, fruit trees in the yard, vegetable garden, all of those things. Now, again, probably wouldn't be living really well if we couldn't get to a store and buy goods or food, but at least we could probably survive for a while. And again, there's other ways to protect as well. I'm sure many of you guys have some of the same ways that I do. Okay, so Crowdstrike, what are we looking at here? If we go to this chart on the daily, we can see it was flushing down. There was a key technical line right here. Look at that trend line. So we see this trend line. We are currently below it. If we close below it and we confirm, that would be something major. That would be a longer term breakdown on the chart. Where would we go? Well, number one, we have to look at where it was pre-market. It was all the way down to the 270 level, which was right down in this vicinity right here. So that is your short-term support. For me, I would start getting interested if it flushes down in this range right here between 250 and 260 on the chart. So again, right now, very, very volatile. We don't know if something new is going to come up, but right now, if they fix it, you would assume it would float back up. I'm not a buyer now, by the way. Yes, I was short, covered the short, fine, but I didn't go in because, number one, it had already bounced by the time I was kind of even digesting what was going on. The stock had already moved back up substantially, but also just the fact that you still got to look at the chart and reevaluate and buy at levels like this, right? So you're kind of got a lot of support down in this vicinity. So if it continues to flush, would there be a level where I enter? Yes, but I have to just watch for those levels to come up. All right. A couple other charts here I want to go over. Let's go to the S&P. Really, it's very rare that I go to the S&P, the third chart here that we're looking at. But what we see here is the pre-market data on the S&P 500. We closed right here, and we're trading right here. So we're fractionally, and I say fractionally positive on the morning session here with a market that has now sold off 2 days in a row. And again, it's not just 2 days in a row, it's 2 significant days. Mainly the first day was the most. The NASDAQ down 3%. Yesterday, NASDAQ was down an additional 1%. But the question is are we at a point where we're starting to see a major breakdown? Well, let's go to the daily chart and take a look at the S&P 500. So if we do that, one of the things that I've been talking about here is that we have a very clear wedge or channel, I should say channel, right? And I've talked about this and I even called it for you guys, right? You can't say that I didn't say, hey guys, look at that, and then right off of here and right off of here, right? So it made sense even before this happened over the last few days that we were going to see selling. But the bigger question is, what if we connect this low to this low? Where is that technical support? So let's do that right now. Let's start looking into the close support levels. And if we do that and we stretch a trend line right up here, that gives us a very intriguing level here. Now, what's fascinating about this, and I want to show you this. So instead of drawing a trend line, what if we take the parallel and we just dip it down, right? So this is a parallel, perfectly parallel, and I'm a big fan of these, as you guys know. So we're gonna take this top line and just swing it down below. You can watch on the screen as this happens, right? Down it goes. All of a sudden, we get a potential level of where the support will be, and I'm just extending it out. See what I did there? So this line is parallel to this line, which was parallel to this line. And that tells you you have a very important line in the market. So what we're seeing here is if we come down to this level right there, which on my chart is right around 548 to 549, that would be significant technical support. Now, if that breaks, watch out below. I'll say that. But right now, 548, 549, that would be a technical level to watch. That's about $5 lower than yesterday's close. It's possible we could flush there today, especially with this issue with Crowdstrike and affecting so many systems. You do wonder if there's investors that are already nervous about the tech sell-off the last few days. Are they going to be willing to buy on a Friday afternoon, or do we flush to the downside? In addition, today's options expiration, which again, whipsaw options week is normal. You know, these type of crazy moves are very normal during Options X, as the institutions love to whip out the small investors that are trying to buy the option call contracts. All right. Couple other charts here. If we flip over to the NASDAQ 100 and we go to this, we can see again, I do have some technical lines on the chart. We do have a technical level right here at around 474 right here. That's a gap fill. Then you have 469 right here, a secondary gap fill on the QQQ. But the big one is the one stretching up here. The upsloping trend lines are usually the most important, and that again would come in just below 460 here on the QQQ. So right now we'll see if we hit this one as day trading in the Apex Live day trading room. There'll definitely be a trade here and here. But as a swing or as a more sustainable bounce, I personally would not go near this until at least that level there below 460 on the NASDAQ 100 QQQ. All right, couple other charts here. American Express reported earnings this morning. It is down a little bit on earnings. Not a big move by any stretch, but we are seeing a little bit of downside action here. And then really what we're looking at is on the daily chart, were there signals that you were going to get a sell-off? I actually wrote an article, yesterday about this. And if we look at this, I mean, this was a very crystal clear scenario where you can see there were multiple trend lines. The stock was at all-time highs. You basically put in a topping tail, which is a reversal signal yesterday, bearish reversal signal, and look at where the chart was. I mean, so extended with that type of reversal into these trend lines, and the probabilities it was going to sell on earnings were probably about 80% here. And again, that's exactly what we're seeing. Now, we're not seeing a huge sell. I mean, it's not a massive sell, down $5, $6. I think it'll sell more throughout the day. But still, it's American Express. It doesn't move a whole lot on an individual day. You're not going to see American Express, unless really crazy stuff happens, down more than $5 or $6 in a day. Anything north of 10 would be almost outlandish, even though for a lot of other stocks like NVIDIA or Netflix, for instance, that wouldn't even be something you would even kind of question. It would just be almost normal price action. Okay? Couple other stocks here before we just take a quick second to do our spin. Tesla yesterday is continuing to chop sideways. If we look at the pre-market data, we are seeing it down just a little bit here. So again, if we look at where it closed yesterday, it was right up here. A little bit of a flush in the after hours and then some chop here. So it's just down slightly in the pre-market from closing just around the 250 marker. This stock, again, has been very resilient, though. You can't deny how resilient it has been. This stock, again, if you look at stocks like Microsoft and Apple and NVIDIA and Meta, they've all taken massive hits. But this stock has held beautifully, and you could probably draw some sort of little wedge in here. So the question is, as it consolidates, does it eventually break to the downside or break to the upside? And remember, when you have a wedge pattern, and wedges occur a lot of times, and when price gets to that tip, there's an explosive move one way or the other. And if it breaks to the upside, you usually get a big move, but if it breaks to the downside, same thing. It has the potential to make a big move. In addition, Tesla reports earnings next week, so maybe that's what it's waiting for. Everyone's waiting to hear about robo-taxis, about these other factors, and maybe that's why price is holding here on a kind of sideways choppy zone, waiting for those earnings to be reported. All right. On that note, let's quickly go to our charts here and go to our scanning thing here. There we go. There it is. All right, so we're going to find out who wins $300 in VI credit here, and you can use it anywhere on the website. As I said yesterday, even the winning trader series. Oops, it's scanning, and of course I didn't have that up, but it's scanning either way as it's going through all of these comments here, and there it is. Titch Glover 26001. There you go. All right. Anyways, there you go. There's the winner today. Congratulations on that. And we will see who wins on our next wheel spin. All right, next up, let's jump over to the wheel here and spin and see what goes on as we come through here. Nice. Smart Money Commodities, guys. 3 months free, Smart Money Commodities. So again, that's a beauty right there. What we're seeing here in this scenario is that commodities are getting crazy. In fact, I'm going to go over and look at the commodities charts right now because gold and silver are in dump zone. And what's so fascinating about gold is that we hadn't confirmed a breakout, which means it's vulnerable to a break back down, and that's what we're seeing today. And silver, we already knew from the previous game plan, silver is coming down as well. So, in fact, follow me over here. We're going to get right into these. Let's go right to gold. All right, we're not even wasting any time, no commercials today. Take a look at gold today. Look at this drop. And I want to go over this because this is on a technical basis. This is really, really, really important. So gold is down right now $47. That's a big drop on gold. The kicker here is, number one, we were right up into this upper level. It was only kind of a minor resistance, but because we didn't confirm above this trend line remains weak. So remember the methodology that's taught in the Winning Trader series. And if you've taken it, great job, because it's going to make a lot more sense to you. When you confirm above a level, that level becomes major support. When you don't confirm above a level, it's only minor support, which makes it vulnerable to a break back below. We closed above, never confirmed, boom. That can happen when you don't confirm. Listen, it can happen at any time, but it's much more high probability that you'll go right back down. And so that's where we are on gold coming back in. Now, for me, this is getting more interesting. This is volatility. This is what me as a trader, as a swing trader, I'm looking for. So where are our key supports? I have a couple key supports coming into play. There's a level in here. We can see these pivot points right in here. So you're starting to get close to some support. We also have this additional level at 2,300. It's a little upsloping trend line from this level to this level to this level. So right in this zone. Now again, where will I start to nibble a little bit on a swing trade? I'm not sure yet, but that's where following the charts on a daily basis are key. As again, this is a pretty darn big flush. And part of this too is, by the way, the US dollar is catching a bid today. I don't know if that has something to do with the outage with Crowdstrike and what's going on there. It could be, but either way, it's affecting gold. Usually you'd think if there's any security grid type worries, gold would be the recipient of money flow. That's not happening today, which is interesting for sure. All right, so gold right now trading here, but look at silver, guys. Silver is getting pummeled down here on the charts. Now, this is also a very interesting technical level. Here's your channel, your breakout, your confirmation, your consolidation, your failure, your retrace to the scene of the crime. So this is actually support. It's a starter, maybe starter position. I'm eyeing this to start a small position on a swing trade. I would start a little bit maybe right on this pierce in this zone. You have additional support right down here around 28. And then secondary or third support right down there. So you're starting to get a pullback that is now making more sense as a potential nibble opportunity. Notice I said nibble. A lot of investors are like, oh, well, I just go all in on my first buy. I tried that too. Didn't work out so well because I'm not right enough on my exact entries that make it worthwhile. So I nibble and I buy at technical levels along the way, which gives me a good dollar cost average, which again, eventually you do get that bounce. And if you're looking at the longer term picture, especially, silver should do well. But great flush on silver here this morning. Now you'd think Bitcoin was wild, right? You'd think, oh, well, Bitcoin's got to be going nuts. Bitcoin's not. It's literally stable as can be right now, which I even find a little interesting too, because again, same thing. Crowdstrike issue here this morning. I mean, there's all the reasons why people could get nervous about Bitcoin because, oh my goodness, you know, what if there's some sort of outage in the network or whatever, right? Or they could say, well, this is a great reason why you need something decentralized, Bitcoin, etc. Maybe that's it. But overall, Bitcoin's barely moving on the day. Now, what we do want to be aware of is that you could be starting to make bullish consolidation. It needs to continue a little bit longer, but we know we did confirm above this level. So now that level is generally firm support. And we're starting to go sideways, which could be building that bullish consolidation. And by the name of bullish consolidation, it would start to imply by early, mid next week that if we're still seeing this pattern, you could be headed towards $70,000, all right? What would be failure? To fail this pattern, you would need to close down here and confirm. It has to confirm below because it confirmed above. All right, next up, let's look at oil. Oil is starting to downtick. You guys know I've been a big bear on oil ever since we got up into this zone right up here, multiple trend lines converging. It again has chopped down into this level. That's almost looking like a bear flag. And again, eventually I still expect oil to break to the downside. Lastly, natural gas real quick here. If we look at natural gas, it is bouncing, well, it's kind of flattish today. It was down a little bit, now it's floating back up. We hit the major support. Again, I do have a long position in nat gas, and I'm looking for it to bounce back up. So far, so good. I like the price action yesterday. That's doing what it should do, what probabilities tell me on the chart. But again, we'll watch to see if it can continue to bounce up. Now, one quick announcement before I go here, folks. For the next 3 weeks, I'm going to be doing the game plans and trading the closes remotely. I will be in Oregon visiting family, but I'm going to be doing everything I normally do here, studying the charts, working full-time, all that stuff, because honestly, I never stop working. It's just the nature of the beast here. Markets are open. I'm focused on the markets. So I will be doing the game plans remotely from those locations over the next 3 weeks. And again, it'll be great to be back in studio, but you guys won't really notice a difference. Just the look of the game plan may be slightly different. On that note, folks, thank you so much for tuning in, supporting Verified Investing, seeing the truth from the charts versus the hype and the BS narratives that we always see out there from other places. It's all about the charts. That's the only way I've ever been able to make money. Check out the Winning Traders series, guys. 1 week left of that sale, and I'll see you soon. Take care.